Considerably shorter, I think. I think the first thing that I want to say is the quote right at the end was really resonated with me, because coming back from a career in industry to academia has been a long road, a longer road than I would have liked to. But yeah, that quote about taking the opportunities when they arise is, I think, yeah, a very important thing to always remember. And I could probably pass for an Icelandic midfielder at the moment as well. So my story was, so I'm a chemist essentially. I did my undergraduate in forensic and analytical science, and then I stayed on at the University of Huddersfield and did a PhD in chemistry. And the idea was to stay in academia in some capacity, with ideally with a postdoc. At the time, I spent a couple of months looking towards the end of my PhD, and then again a couple of months. I went home for a bit and had a look, and then obviously back home with mum and dad, I thought it's time to get out, so I just had to take something, but still something with interest and something within research. So an opportunity with Leivers came up. It was a company which I knew a little bit about, not a great deal, because it was before the time that you see all the adverts now, and they've got the little logo in the corner of all of their products. So it was just before that had happened. So I got that job, and it was in research, in deodorants research. So something I knew nothing about. I had the basic level of analytical skills to work there, but it was a really interesting time building up a base knowledge of that area. So I was there a while, and I always sort of wanted to get back into academia if I could. And I think the key thing is that I kept looking, and that's a really essential part of why I came back and how I came back, is always keep looking, and but at the same time, where I was developing my skills. One thing that I took from my time in industry was the fact that I was at a big company, and the cross-functional working combined with the global scale of the company as well. I think that's had a big impact on me now coming back, and so I'm back in academia now. I've been back 6 months, so not very long at all. But what I've gained from industry, I think, is the understanding of networking and developing and communicating. I think is a really big thing. Working in a big company and working cross-functionally, working with people and listening to ideas and points of view that I didn't have possibly when I did my PhD. So in industry, working on a daily basis with probably marketeers and planners and processing engineers and a whole host of different people, you get a real rounded viewpoint and a scope of your own research and how to think about it differently. And now I'm back in academia and trying to apply some of those approaches, and it's almost it's things that I've learned, but I'm applying them sort of almost subconsciously, I think, in a way now. Yeah, so I'm back. I've been back 6 months, and very much enjoying it so far, the challenge. And I think another reason for me coming back, it's a personal decision, obviously, to come back. And I think one of the things was I found in industry, due to my nature and the kind of person, was even though I was in research, it's research with borders, and it's still research very much based on, I suppose, the end goal and the business plan. If it's outside of that, then you don't have the creative freedom to maybe follow up certain ideas. Where being back, you know, I have a supervisor who the original project came from, but I have a lot more creative freedom to follow up any particular leads that I may see or view. Yeah, and that's it for me. A much shorter story.
Thank you very much, Shaun. We do need the microphone for questions because I forgot we're recording. So, if anyone's got a question for Shaun. Hang on a moment. Sorry.
Do you miss anything about working in industry?
One thing that I found a little bit difficult coming back into academia is I suppose knowing everything that's available, I've found, even though with it being such a big university, I've found sort of the disconnect and almost disjointedness between some of the departments that I'm trying to collaborate with, and knowing who to talk to, and I suppose the areas where equipment is, and where the people with the specialties are. Whereas in industry, I found it much more structured. So even in a company worldwide of around 150, 200,000 employees, it was much easier to find out who I needed to speak to and who I needed to correspond with, rather than in a university where everyone sat on the same campus.
So we need a better directory for the university.
Potentially, yes. I mean, I could find somebody that I needed to speak to directly in Indonesia or Argentina, then I could maybe collaborate in the School of Chemistry at times. It seems like that is a bit of a disconnect in a way, and it's, you get your welcome pack when you start and you get a few introductory notes, but on the specifics of where things are, who to talk to, maybe that's not as complete as maybe it could be.
Other questions for Shaun?
Oh, can I ask a question that maybe is What do you think was the key thing that helped you get your job back in academia?
I think the general passion for research, I think, it came through in the interview, because I think they had maybe someone in mind that was finishing a PhD in a similar group, and they opened it up anyway and to the outside. And when I came for the interview, I didn't know anything about the subject, so my current project is focused around coffee, and we work with a couple of Colombian universities in this collaboration. And I didn't know, I mean, I drink coffee, like a lot of people do, but the intricacies of it and how aroma and taste and flavour work, I didn't know a great deal about at all. But I think the passion for doing research and the freedom came across in the interview. And I went out for lunch with my supervisor in the first week that I started, and I asked him the question of why did I get the role, and he said obviously your skill set fits, which is a key thing, but he also said the way you came across was the passionate, and it was because I was back to doing something that I knew I wanted to do, and I think that's also a key thing. So be ready for the opportunities that come up, and really. I think passion is